So, welcome to Living a Graceful Life. I'm Denise Medved, and I'm your host. I'm also the creator and founder of the Ageless Grace Brain Health Program worldwide. I'm here to remind you that it's never too late to begin making choices to create the life that you want. Those choices have nothing to do with where you live, your geographic location, your home, how many family members you have, what your age is, what your income is, what your career or job or passion is. It has to do with you being consciously aware of choosing every day, many times a day, what would enhance or bring more joy or bring more grace to your life. So, this episode, we're talking about the brain versus the mind, and the mind versus mindfulness, and how those things improve quality of life. So, first of all, the brain is a physical organ in the body, it's a physical part of you. And if you're a neuroscientist or a neurosurgeon, you can touch the brain. It's a tangible object, even though it's inside of our skulls. We know it's there. The mind, on the other hand, is invisible. We can't see it, we can't touch it. There's almost no real definition of the mind. There are many arguments among theologians, philosophers, psychologists, psychoanalysts. What is the mind? And there's not really a consensus. But I'll tell you and share with you what I know about the mind. As I said, it's invisible. As a noun, it's that consciousness or awareness that allows us to process thoughts, ideas, philosophies, and we establish beliefs and mores and morals and values. We establish who we want to be in this world and how we want to be in this world. We establish what we think, what we feel about something, even though it's not really an emotion. It's a process of the element or the substance that we call the mind. Now, the mind, on the other hand, works through the brain. So it needs the brain to take these thoughts and ideas and opinions and facts and put them all together and establish or create what we think about something, what we believe about something. And in the context of spirituality, that is also the way we arrive at what are our beliefs. We use the mind to create that. It can work in conjunction with the emotions. It can work in conjunction with the physical body. It can work in conjunction with the spirit of you. But the mind is something distinct and different from the brain. Now, the mind not only creates ideas and morals and values and establishes what we believe about things, but the mind also has a verb, and that is paying attention to. That's something that, like, mind your step or mind what is going on around you. So, interestingly enough, those two things dovetail in that the mind allows us to do something we call being mindful. Now, being mindful, people think, what is that? Well, it's actually really, really simple. It tells a word. It means that you are fully aware of what is happening around you. You are fully cognizant of what you are doing right now in this moment. You are completely and totally focused on what's happening or the space that you're moving through or what you're saying to you or what you're saying to someone. You are present, you are in the moment. I'm sure you've all heard this expression that the past is over and done, the future hasn't happened yet. And that's why this is called a gift. It is called the present. being in the moment now. Now, also, many of you know that there are many philosophers and religious leaders and spiritual guides and psychoanalysts who have written books about mindfulness or about being present in the moment, or now is all we have. And that's really true. Now is all we have. What I just said, the past doesn't matter anymore. It's over and done with. I can't go back and change it. I can create a new path. I can do something differently than I did in the past, but I can't go back anymore. And I can plan till the day ends, all day long, every day, about what I'm going to do tomorrow, but it may or may not happen. It may not unfold that way. I may change my mind tomorrow about what I wanted that day to look like. So really and truly, being here now is what's important. So there are so many techniques for how do I access that thing called mindfulness that so many people would love to have. We do know this, that people have described when they are in a moment of challenge, of being able to, having to respond, to react to something, a moment of crisis, that they feel like time slows down and that everything is suddenly moving in slow motion. You may have had that sensation yourself when something is happening suddenly and unexpectedly. So that sensation can also be very positive, meaning if you are really truly listening as you're talking to someone you love and they are really truly listening to you, there's a sense of timelessness. How long have we been sitting here talking? Has it been an hour? Has it been a day? Has it been 5 minutes? Being mindful and in the moment can make it feel as if time is expanded. And to me, that is a form of grace. That's a way to invite more grace in our lives, to really appreciate, to feel gratitude for, to get the fullness, the richness, the flavor of this moment and sort of roll it around inside of our hearts and our minds and truly appreciate it. It can expand your life. It can make your quality of life much greater and much better. So what are some of the techniques for being able to do that? It's not quite as easy as it sounds, because you can't just make a decision that, okay, from now on I'm mindful. It kind of doesn't happen that way. I wish it did, but it doesn't. It's not like a light switch. It's something that you actually practice. And if you read about mindfulness, and there are many wonderful books and there are websites, one is called mindful.org. You might enjoy it. There's some great articles on there about mindfulness and being mindful. But when you read that, they often will say it's a practice, your mindfulness practice, which means you don't get it right away. You don't stay in it forever. You go in and out of it. And the good news is there's no judgment about that unless you make that judgment. So if you're attempting to be in the moment and it lasts 20 seconds, well, hooray for you. That's 20 seconds longer than it might have been if you hadn't practiced it at all. And what happens when you say, I was being so mindful and present, and then all of a sudden I started thinking about what I'm going to cook for dinner tonight. Well, then you say, okay, I just left my mindfulness, I left being in the moment, and now I'm coming back to it. So what are some techniques for that? Well, one of the ones I happen to love, there is meditation. There are all kinds of meditation, and again, there's no right or wrong way to do it. If someone tells you this is the only way to meditate, then don't listen to them, because there are thousands, maybe hundreds of ways to meditate, or be in the moment, or pray, or be conscious, or be aware. All of those things. Pay attention to detail. So writing in your journal could be one. Tuning into one or more of your senses. Breathing and watching your breath. Paying attention to your breathing. Sitting in nature. Being still. Walking in nature. Who says you have to sit still to be mindful? You don't. Maybe some things will help you as you're being mindful. For example, I'm barefoot. I love to be barefoot. And it helps me when I'm doing movement, when I'm connecting. I feel more connected and grounded, literally, when my feet are touching the earth or the floor or the carpet. So maybe when you're walking and you take your shoes off in the grass, it helps you be more mindful of what's beneath you, or being connected to the earth or the planet or the great Mother Earth herself. So again, there are no rules about how you practice being mindful. As a matter of fact, you might practice being mindful in 1,000 different ways or 10 different ways. And all of that will help you start to stretch out the moments of time that you're able to be mindful and use your mind, that unseen, untouchable, undescribable part of you that is truly real. And yet it's invisible. So, some of the ways I like to become mindful and have used in the past, and all the time, because I am wonderful at going off on a tangent or noticing something that takes my attention away from what I'm doing now. So I have practiced and practiced and practiced being present in the moment. So I feel I'm almost an expert on the topic, just from the very nature of the fact that I've been doing it for years and years and years. And am I better at it? Yes. Better meaning, can I stay longer in the moment? Do I go in and out of it all day long? Of course I do. Because guess what? I'm a human being. So one of the things I use is the senses. So let's just think for a moment, and I hope you'll join me in doing this. You can close your eyes, or you can slightly look down and just kind of lower your eyes and lower your gaze down toward the floor. And ideally, you're doing this seated, but if you would like to stand up or lie down, that's fine too. Although I will point out that when you're being mindful and in the moment lying down, very often that leads to sleep. And that can be a good thing if what your goal is to go to sleep. But if your goal is to be more mindful, then sitting or standing would be better, or walking and moving. So let's talk about the sense of touch. Eyes lowered or closed, whatever position is comfortable to you, then I want you to just be in that moment and sense, what are your feet sensing? What are your hands touching, or what is touching your hands? Can you feel the chair beneath you? Or perhaps the floor underneath your feet? Or the space around you if you're walking or moving? Whatever your position, sense the temperature of the air touching your body. Sense your eyelashes touching your eyelids. Sense your clothing. Where do you feel it touching your body? Sense your lips on your face. Is your hair touching your forehead, or perhaps your neck or your ears? If you have on any jewelry, can you feel the jewelry touching your skin? Can you feel your own breath coming in through your nose or going out through your nose, coming in through your mouth or going out through your mouth? Can you sense your chest perhaps rising and sinking as the breath comes in and out of your body? And then literally tap your fingers on your thighs or the chair, tap your feet on the floor, and it's a way of sort of bringing yourself out of this practice. Slowly raise your eyes and look around you. All we used was this sense of touch, and that brought you right here, right now, in this moment. Now, as I walked you through that with my words, you might have wondered, you might have thought, how much longer is she going to do this? Or what else is she going to say? Or I'm going to look now and see what's going on. I'm tired of looking at the floor. That's okay. You can just bring yourself back to being mindful again while we're sitting here. Maybe you can be aware of the seat or the chair that you're sitting on. What is the texture of it? Is it soft? Is it hard? Is there a pillow? Is it padded? What are your hands touching? My pants happen to be leather, so I can feel the sensation of that leather under my fingers and my hands, and I can still talk to you and be present with you. So one of the things that you can do is also pay attention to other senses, one at a time. If you try to do many of them, again, it can be distracting. It's a lot of things, but one at a time. And when you go out of it and say, whoops, I was paying attention to what I was feeling, the sense of touch, what was touching me, what I was touching. And then I started thinking about what I had for breakfast this morning. That's okay. Again, just bring yourself back and say, okay, I'm going to be mindful now to what I'm touching, what I'm feeling, the texture, the air, the breath. Now, another one might be the sense of sound. What do you hear? It's magical sometimes, especially to go out in nature and just sit and pay close attention to every little sound you hear. And you might even start with the sounds that are close to you, like can you maybe hear your own breath coming in and out of your nose or your mouth? Can you maybe even sense or imagine that you hear or feel your heartbeat? Are you hearing the rustling of your clothes as you just slightly move? Are you hearing, move a little further out, a cricket in the grass, or a car going down the road in the distance, or the sound of birds? So start to listen and even expand your hearing beyond that. Listen so closely. Say, can I hear what's happening a mile away or on the other side of the world? Let your imagination keep you completely listening in the moment. And then, of course, there's the sense of smell. Oh, there's some wonderful places to practice the sense of smell to make you more mindful in the moment. We have a wonderful bakery that's been in business since the 1920s in my little town in North Carolina in the Blue Ridge Mountains. And I love, there's a park bench outside and a few other seats and tables too. I love to go sit outside that bakery and just start to smell and literally sort of drill down and see if I can smell the difference between a sugary smell and a bread yeasty smell. And you can see where I'm going with this, that you can truly keep yourself in the moment and you won't be thinking about anything else. You won't be anxious or worried or stressed about anything else while you're being in the moment. Because right now, the truth is, ask yourself the question, is there a problem in your life? Can you do anything about it right now in this moment? Probably not. It's something you might be able to do tomorrow or that you handled earlier today and you don't know the results yet. But the reality is, in this moment, right now, there is no stress. There is no worry. There is no anxiety. It's just this moment right now. So you can do the same thing with writing. You can write your thoughts and emotions down. It can be very present making, that you are in this moment writing, and ideally write about what's happening right now in this moment. How are you feeling right now in this moment? What are you thinking right now in this moment? So another practice is just being mindful as you walk or as you move, and just being conscious perhaps of your physical body, moving through space. Right now I'm walking past a grove of pine trees. Right now I'm walking on earth that is uneven. Right now I'm walking on a path that is smooth grass. Right now I am seeing butterflies. Right now I am literally, what is it right now that you are doing? Prayer is a form of being in the moment, although quite honestly, it's very easy to pray about the past or to pray about the future, what you'd like to have happen, what you're asking for, what you want to occur, as opposed to actually being able to feel gratitude in the moment, right? Meister Eckhart said, if the only prayer you ever pray is thank you, then that's enough. So there are many books, needless to say, on mindfulness. There are some wonderful meditations and readings. That's another form of being present, is can you read and be fully present with the words that you're reading? Or perhaps play an audio that gives you words or a poem or a meditation or an insight that you're truly listening to in the moment. Again, it can expand time. It can make it feel big and wonderful and amazing. And how long can this last? Well, maybe only 20 seconds, maybe 30 seconds, maybe a minute or two. It depends on the day, for example, or what's going on, or the time of day. Some days I am more attentive, and some days I'm more distracted, because I'm a human being, as I mentioned earlier. We all are. So, conscious human beings can make conscious choices about how conscious and aware they would like to be. I hope that you'll use some of these techniques and things that we've talked about to bring more pleasure and joy, more peace and calmness, and less stress, anxiety, distractedness, lack of attention, lack of focus. Doing this, if you were to do this 20 times a day for 1 minute, think about that. Wow. That would mean that you got 20 minutes of really, truly being present and in the moment. That's pretty powerful. And what if you could expand it and make it longer? I think the goal of many people who are attempting to be more conscious is to be conscious all the time. I personally don't know of anyone who's accomplished it, although there are some great spiritual leaders and philosophers who've come very close. One of the things that I do is connect myself to my body, because it's easy for me personally to get in my head. And so I use exercise or movement tools, and I have one every episode that I show you and share with you, because they're so simple. They're actually called the 21 Simple Tools for Lifelong Comfort and Ease, and might I say, pleasure and fun and enjoyment also. It not only moves your body, it stimulates your brain. And today we're going to do one of those exercises and play just a few moments together at moving our body, not just sitting static and still. And we do it in a chair, so it connects our brain to our body and causes our brain to figure out, how do we do this seated instead of standing? So I'm going to put on some music, because that also stimulates the brain and the body and our emotions and our consciousness and awareness. So what I'd like to do is have you move in slow motion and literally pay attention to the details of that movement. So let's start with this hand going up as slowly as you can let it go. And the minute that hand starts to come down, perhaps the other hand goes up. So you're paying attention to the sensation of your body, your arms, your hands, your fingers, moving in slow motion. What if we were to add a leg to this so that as my hand floats up, weightless and down, the minute it starts to lower, the other hand and foot goes up. So concentrate on watching your hand. Watch your knuckles go up and your palm come down. Maybe you watch your wrist and how it changes positions. Be fascinated by your hand. What if your hand and foot were to go in a different direction? Watch your hand. Fascination, wonder at the movement of your hand. Maybe your palm comes up as it goes down, and your knuckles go up as your hand lifts. Maybe you want to act out something like running, but in slow motion, as if you're sensing and feeling every movement of your body running through space. You're sensing the lift of your shoulder and the extension of your arm. You're sensing what your feet are doing or your knees. Fully aware of running through space. Maybe you rise and sink as you're running. You could apply this to anything. You can imagine you're brushing your hair in slow motion or climbing the stairs. Let's climb a ladder. Slow motion. Are you using the same hand and foot on the same side? Maybe yes, maybe no. It's totally up to you how you do this. Paying attention, noticing, being conscious and aware. So that's Tai Chi. Don't confuse it with Tai Chi. It looks like Tai Chi because we're moving slowly, attentively, focused on what we're doing and nothing else. Hopefully as you did this, you weren't thinking about anything else. You were just watching your body, watching your hands as they moved. So that's a simple little tool that you can play any time of any day, act out anything you can think of in slow motion. So if you would like to know more about some of these 21 tools that you can use to help yourself be more mindful, more in the moment, to connect your body, then visit our website, agelessgrace.com, agelessgrace.com, or you can also go to the Win-Win Women store at winwinwomen.com, and there are tools and support information. There are DVDs, flashcards, a playbook. We don't call it a workbook. All of those things are there to support you. So I hope you'll access those things and be able to understand more about simple, playful, fun ways you can actually have more pleasure and grace in your life. So thank you for joining me on Living a Graceful Life. I like to leave with a what if. What if everyone who's listening decided to be more mindful just 2 or 3 or 4 times a day for just a few seconds, to be present with the person you're talking to be present in the moment, to connect with nature, whatever it is, but to be totally present. I believe if we all made that choice, it could literally change the world. Thank you.